My lecture today is on Caliban in the Tempest. I have decided to make this discussion on Caliban in 3 parts. If you look at the board, you can see I have quoted from the text itself a sentence spoken by Caliban himself. Ban, ban, CaCaliban. The question is, why CaCaliban? Had Caliban a stammer? But throughout the play, we never saw Caliban stammering. So one commentator has very correctly pointed out that this stammer is due to the effect of drinks that was given to Caliban by Stefano. Now this Caliban, what is the meaning of the word Caliban? Let us try to look at the word Caliban and analyze it from the etymological angle. Does Caliban suggest a transposition of letters, a deliberate transposition of letters, or rather an anagram? Does it mean cannibal? Has Caliban come from the word cannibal? Cannibal or cannibalism suggests the habit of the barbarians. So is the name given to this character to suggest, to signify that Caliban was a barbarian? Well, there are other suggestions made by critics. For example, critics say that Caliban may have been derived from the gypsy word Caliban, or Caliban may mean cars. In Shakespeare's time, ban suggested cars. So Caliban is a character that suggests, that signifies cars. As if Caliban, the presence of Caliban is a virtual curse to the other people. And we have to remember that Caliban is connected with Calibia. Calibia is the name of a place in Africa. So Caliban is connected with Africa. And we know that Caliban is connected with Africa. Because Caliban's mother, Sycorax, came from Algiers. So the black boy, the black man, is a reminder of the other world. A world which is different from the world of white men. So Caliban can suggest cannibal. Caliban may indicate ban or curse. Caliban comes from the gypsy word Caliban. It can be connected with a place name in Africa, Caliban. And that reminds us of Caliban's African connection. Now, let us see now what the other characters have said about Caliban in the play. Well, what Trinculo says about Caliban, let us take up that first. Legged like a man, his fins like arms. So fin, the word fin suggests that Caliban to the Europeans looked like a fish. Then again he is called half a fish, half a monster. And Trinculo once again says, a man or a fish. Now, why is Caliban likened to a fish? We shall come to that later. Antonio says, a plain fish. Prospero calls Caliban tortoise and calls him a freckled like whelp. The disproportionate body of Caliban is suggested by all these descriptions. It may be that Caliban's skin was spotted, which looked like scales. It may be that Caliban was very tall, with two arms or hands dangling, and he looked like a fish with fins, at least to the white men. Prospero also calls Caliban a devil, and filth. But with all these descriptions of Caliban from the other characters of the play, it is a settled fact that Caliban had a human form. Caliban was neither a fish, nor a tortoise, nor a beast, nor a devil. He was a human being, only different in looks. But the white people described Caliban in this way because Caliban very naturally did not look like them. Now, let us consider what critics and commentators have said about Caliban. It has been said that the so-called civilized world is the world of art, and Caliban's is the world of nature. Art means grace, polish, and nature is graceless, without the polish of civilization. So Caliban is crude, brute and graceless because he doesn't belong to the world of civilization. He doesn't belong to the world of art. It has also been said that while the Europe and the Europeans, they belong to order, Caliban belongs to disorder. Caliban always brings chaos. Caliban is the source of all troubles, all disturbance to the white people, to the Europeans. Because Caliban signifies disorder. Caliban is the embodiment of disorder, which stands opposite to the world of order, the civilized world. It has also been said that Caliban is grotesque. Caliban is a figure that provokes loathing and anger and nausea. He is grotesque, and therefore, to an extent, he excites fear in the mind of the other people. And Caliban also has another role in the play. He is a comic character, a comical. The comical aspect of Caliban has to be remembered. So he is grotesque, he is uncivilized, and he is comical. But Schlegel has said that Caliban is a poetical character. There is inherent poetry in Caliban. Caliban has an affinity with nature where he lives. In my previous lecture, I pointed out that Miranda perhaps did not have this affinity with nature. While she was leaving the island, she felt no pain. No pang was there in her heart for the place where she had lived for 12 long years. Because she did not feel attached with nature within which she was placed. But Caliban could understand the music of nature. And in my previous lecture, I pointed out, or rather I read out, the speech, Caliban's very famous speech, "Be not afraid," where he points out the beauty of nature, the beauty of the island, the music of the island. So Schlegel has pointed out that Caliban is a poetical character as well. Now, one more thing I think I should point out now. I should take up that point later also, but I feel that I should point out this right now. Now, order and disorder. What do we mean by order? Europe suggests order. Europe goes by its own laws. Europe goes by its own parameters. They look upon Caliban with their parameters, without trying to understand that Caliban belongs to a different level, a different space. The space of the Europeans and the space of Caliban are not similar. So the parameters of the so-called European civilization should not be applied on Caliban. Secondly, perhaps we have to remember another very important thing, that the Europeans came to this island. They were the outsiders. And the island belonged to Caliban. Caliban did not go to their land. He was happy with himself in this island. So Caliban is not a disruption to the life of the Europeans. It's the other way around. The Europeans are a disruption in the life of Caliban. Why is Caliban denounced so much? So there are three specific reasons. The first one is that he defied Prospero, the man who came to civilize him, educate him, and protect him. The second reason is that Caliban made an attempt to violate Miranda, which was an unpardonable crime. And third was that he plotted to kill Prospero with Stefano and Trinculo. Such a character, such a living being is much more than a villain. This is generally said about Caliban. But we must look at the other side of the thing. We have to see everything from the point of view of Caliban as well. Prospero was an outsider. He came to this island to save the life of his daughter and of himself. But he used Caliban. And the declaration of Prospero that he wanted to protect and educate Caliban sounds like the declaration of a colonizer. Every colonizer or a colonizing nation, after going to the land that they will colonize, declare that they have come here to protect the nation, to protect the people, to educate the people, to civilize the people. And Prospero used same words, but in actuality Prospero exploited Caliban. Caliban, at a later point of time, understood the mistake. He was a young boy then. He could not understand Prospero. Prospero showed him love, but under the facade of this love, there was the motive of the colonizer, which Caliban could not understand. And Caliban says, let me showed thee all the qualities of the isle, the fresh springs fine pits, barren place, and fertile. Prospero precisely used Caliban to know all these things. He didn't know anything about the island. He had to know everything, every nook and corner of the island. And he used the son of the soil. And when the information was extorted from Caliban, Caliban was dumped like a slave. And second allegation or second reason of denouncing Caliban is that he wanted to violate or rape Miranda. But violation and rape are perhaps words connected with the civilized world. In the world of nature, animals do not rape. Animals go by their instinct. Now, if we say that Caliban is at the lowest level of existence, he belongs to the world of nature, we cannot blame him as one who wanted to violate Miranda. In fact, the elementary conditions in a living being are two. Each living being will try to preserve and procreate. And Caliban also perhaps wanted to do that. And as he says, he wanted to people the island with Calibans. Once again, let us remember that the world of Caliban and the world of the civilized Europeans are different. The instincts of Caliban are different from the codes of morality, codes of civilization that the Europeans follow. Therefore, Caliban cannot be blamed as a potential rapist. Caliban, once again, acted according to his instinct. And the way he was exploited by Prospero, the way he was enslaved by Prospero, cannot be justified. And let us read at one point of time, Miranda says, "'Tis a villain, sir." She's speaking about Caliban. "'Tis a villain, sir. I do not love to look on, sir. But as it is, we cannot miss him. He does make our fire, fetch in our wood, and serves in offices that profit us." So that is precisely what Prospero wanted to do with Caliban. He wanted to utilize Caliban so that his works can profit them. So when Prospero indicates that he loved Caliban when he was a young boy, perhaps such a declaration seems incredible. Caliban was a free man from the beginning. He was the son of the soil. His mother came from Algiers and he was born on this soil. So he has his birthright on the soil. But the free man has been converted into a slave. And now Caliban is confused about the meaning of freedom. He's desperate. He desperately wants to free himself from Prospero. And he wants to take the help of Stefano and Trinculo. He does not understand that in order to get rid of Prospero, he's taking up another man as his master. So Caliban is not getting his freedom. But unfortunately, Caliban doesn't understand this. And Caliban is happy when he says, "No more dams I will make for fish, nor fetch in firing at requiring, nor scrap trenchering, nor wash dish. Ban, Caliban has a new master, yet a new man. Freedom, high day, freedom, freedom, high day, freedom." Now how unfortunate is this? Caliban pronounces freedom, freedom, but he doesn't understand what freedom is. He was naturally free, and he did not need to understand the meaning of freedom. When he was in the island all by himself, it is Prospero who made him a slave. And the tyranny of Prospero has become so unbearable that somehow or other Caliban wants to get rid of it. And he acknowledges another man as his new master. Now we can feel the tragedy of Caliban and understand the bad work done by Prospero. Now, at one point, Miranda told Caliban that it was she who had taught her language. Language is a very important thing. The colonizer comes and imposes his or her language on the natives. The language of the native is taken away from them, and they have to take up the alien language. We do not know whether Caliban had any language or not. Even in that case, silence was his language. He did not want to learn any language of the Europeans, but he had to learn it because the Europeans needed that for their communication with Caliban. And Caliban says, "You taught me language, and my profit on it is I know how to curse. Once again, you taught me language, and my profit in it is I know how to curse. So the colonizer's language is mangled, is perverted by the colonized native. Perhaps this is a typical post-colonial issue. Prospero is the colonizer, and as the colonizer, he is at the center of power. The center needs to create the other, because the center doesn't exist if there is no periphery. The boss cannot exist without a subordinate. So Europe or white civilization, if it is considered the center, then blacks, the Africans, must be the other. Caliban is the other. And it is power that decides, it is power that dictates, and it is power that decodes. So, the other or the colonized will have to go by their standards, codes, and issues. Caliban defies. Therefore, Caliban is a villain. Therefore, Caliban is projected as a menace. But we have to understand that the initial evil was committed by the colonizer. The colonizer who encroached into the territory of the native, that is Caliban. But everywhere it is the rule of power. Prospero or Europe, with greater technology, higher education, and perhaps better intelligence, can easily dominate the people who belong to nature, the natural surroundings. So, non-Europe, Asia and Africa, they are dominated by Europe. And as Edward Said has said, that the center decides the code. So the codes of conduct, the parameters are all decided by the center. And therefore, Caliban is a fish, a beast, a villain. But why was not Caliban allowed to live in his own world, in his own circumstances, undisturbed? And that is the question. We have come right at the end of our discussion, and now I like to look at Caliban and Prospero from a different angle. Before anything else, I want to read 4 lines from a poem by Blake. My mother bore me in the southern wild, and I am black, but oh, my soul is white. White as an angel is Milan's child, but I am black as if bereaved of life. Now I have changed just one word. In Blake, it was white as an angel is the English child. I have altered it. I have made white as an angel is Milan's child. And I want to look at the whole thing like this. The white girl and the white boy. The white boy encounters, the black boy encounters the white girl. The white girl comes to the island of Caliban. The white girl, meaning Miranda, with her father, arrive at the island, and there the white man and the white girl, they encounter the black boy. And what happened in the end, we all know. But the question is it all because of the blackness? Or is it all because Caliban did not look like the Europeans? Now, as Blake's black child says, although my skin was black, my soul was white. Initially, definitely, Caliban's soul was white as well. But his white soul was neglected because he had a black skin. And I believe that Prospero was a bad teacher. Prospero can be, in my opinion, connected and compared with Mary Shelley's Frankenstein of the novel of the same name. Now, what did the scientist Frankenstein do? He left his creation half finished or unfinished. And the result was that his creation became a monster. When Prospero came, Caliban was a small boy. Why couldn't he train Caliban? Why did he leave him just for one mistake, if we call it a mistake at all? So he is a bad teacher who could not train either Caliban or his own daughter Miranda. Miranda finally impresses us as no more than a puppet. A puppet who has to work at the dictates of her father, either consciously or unconsciously. And Caliban could not be trained. He started training Caliban, he left him, and Caliban became what he is. Even if we are to condemn Caliban, we shall have to condemn his teacher Prospero first. Thank you.